Welcome to Quest for Peace, a podcast that explores how we can journey towards inner tranquility in the midst of a chaotic world. In an era filled with uncertainty, conflicts, and global challenges, our quest for peace becomes more vital than ever. Together, let's discover how we can create more peace within ourselves, and by doing so, how we can contribute to a more peaceful world. Hello, everyone. This is Saju Vaswani, and welcome to my show, Quest for Peace. Today's guest is a self empowered and listening coach and catalyst, and a Robin Madden trained coach for almost 20 years. The foundation of her unique coaching style are human design, BG5, and the gene key and golden pathways, systems that bring powerful insight and strategies for self elimination, self love, self mastery, as well as creating life, love, and work that resonates with your heart and soul. Help me welcome Tuck Self. Hello, Tuck. Welcome to my podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so excited for today's podcast. Tuck, please enlighten everyone who you are and everything about yourself, if you could, please.
I love the word enlighten everyone about myself. I've been doing that for a couple of decades, enlightening myself and others about who I am. That's a loaded question, Saju. I am a mystery, an enigma, and an eclectic back ball of energy that has gone through many lifetimes as an accountant, mother, wife, divorcee, wife again, widowed, mother of two extraordinary kids. I actually have a story in the Juicy Joyful Life that the full paragraph says, this is who I've been and this is what I've done. I am a lover and an enthusiast of life, Saju, who currently, what I spend my time doing is connecting with individuals, advocating for the highest ideal of who they are, frequently sometimes having a relationship with that potential versus the person in front of me. And in terms of a career, I currently teach for the BG5 Institute. So I teach about a beautiful system and assessment, profiling assessment system that is for people's personal life, their career, and their business. I've taken a long time to get here. I think the easiest thing to say is I really am a personal growth enthusiast who has spent, most of my life looking for what's right, looking to find what's fulfilling, and to do it with a sense of freedom and fun, with spiritual community and making connections and making contributions. So that's how that feels better to introduce myself that way than a bunch of forms that tell me what I am.
That's very true. And I've known you for, I don't know, it's been so many years. This was at the beginning of when
Yes.
Infinite Love was formed. You came to Infinite Love with our good friend Simran Singh, and we
Yep.
hit it off really well. And you started doing your human design on for me, for all of us. And then you came back
Yep.
again several times teaching this human design to our Infinite Love community. And you've been amazing. And I know you've been doing this work for a long, long time. And I before we go into the human design, I know you were a listening coach. What is all that about? What is a listening coach?
It's funny, both the listening work as well as human design came into my life almost at the same time. So it's that typical thing that I know you and I both believe, when the student is ready, the teacher comes. When
Mm-hmm.
we're ready for something new to come in, it shows up. I was introduced to the listening work at the time where I was looking for life purpose. That was my entree into that whole body of work, was to get real clear on what my life purpose is and or was. And from there, I was so deeply moved by Dr. McCall's the reason that she does the work that she does, that, she had been at San Quentin, counseled the inmates on death row. And at the moment of their demise, they said, somebody finally listened to me. And she has spent her entire career talking about the healing powers of listening, that when people feel heard, it's like God hears them. It's like the cosmic mother is listening, and it really opens up and helps us release toxins. That drew me in. And just from there, they had a coaching program, and it was around listening. How do you listen? How do you ask the right questions? So that's the training as a listening coach. But for me, it goes so much deeper than that. It's interesting because we're going to talk about the human energy design system, and there are offshoots to that, Saju. People have taken that body of work and gone and done their own thing with it. One of the individuals that has done that is Richard Rudd, and he's created a body of work called the Gene Keys. And when I look at my design from his body of work, my core wound and core talent in the world is trait 13, which is listening as the witness with love and with empathy. And so the fact that I picked up that work, in 2003, it I am mesmerized when I see how divinely inspired and led my life has been, and putting me in the right places at the right time. So that's a long answer to your question about being a listening
Awesome.
coach. But I love the opportunity not only to listen, but to be heard. It really feels healing and soothing to me. So,
Yes. So it's important as far as listening. I'm also very, I love that work as well. And to listen to someone without cutting in and telling them, yeah, but, and, or offering, advice or anything like that, just to listen and for them
yeah.
to feel heard. It's, how often do you see that? It's very rare. It's very hard to find people who just sit and listen to you.
Especially in today's time, I can't remember who sang the song, "Is anybody really listening?" Like,
Mm,
is anybody really listening today? It begs the question, right?
right.
And it also, the way it's supported, with the body of work, the human design system, there's so much information here. And my experience has been people want to go read for like clients, or to read for you, or get so excited. I want to go vomit all of the information on you. There really is a benefit and a value to being quiet and listening to you where it is that you are, starting and meeting you where you are, and then based on what you're saying and what maybe some of your questions are, affirming that you're on the right track, or letting you know where the obstacles are with this body of work. So they fit hand in glove in a really beautiful way, or at least they do to me, in terms of being able to share that with others.
Absolutely. We did that before we started the recording. You read my human design, and I had my question, am I going the right direction? And it was very enlightening.
Yeah.
What exactly is human design for those who don't understand? From what I understand, and it really helped me when you did my human design, it is how you are designed. And when you hear these are what your plus and your pluses are, and this is what you're all about, it resonates, and you say, oh my god, that's why I was doing this, and so I'm not wrong in doing the other. So it's really reassuring. Would you like to explain or express more?
Yeah. It's very, it's interesting that you say that as well, Saju. I was introduced to human design probably 2003, 4, 5 by my sister, who was a parenting coach, and called me and said, "Gosh, personal growth enthusiast that you are, you want to take a look at this." And I had my first session, and it literally was like somebody took their hand off a cork that had been, like, I've been holding myself underwater for years, holding back the dynamics and the aspects of who I was, because it was too much for people sometimes. So the affirmation, the freedom that comes with the system, the originator is and or was Ra Uru, who Ra's no longer on this planet. And It came forth from him. There's a story behind it. I don't really need to go into the story. The easiest thing to say about human design is that it is a combination, a synthesis is a better word, of a lot of different ancient wisdoms and sciences, as well as modern wisdoms and sciences, the Hindu chakra system, the Chinese I Ching, astrology, quantum physics. It's all of those rolled into one. I believe when I was at your place at Infinite Love, I love the story, and you can see the little thing behind me. It's like that's a cell in the body of the creator, and yet it's also the cell in every, it's each cell, the vibration and the frequency that lives in each cell of our body. On the day that each of us were born, I love to say it's like a snapshot was taken of the heavens and where all the planets were. There was an imprinting that occurred, and we were defined with 26 of the codons in the genetic code as ways of expressing ourselves. So as I'm on this incarnation walking this earth, there is a way that I have chosen to come and share myself with you and broadcast myself with you. But there are also aspects in my design where I'm here to learn, where I'm here to be conditioned, where I'm here to be vulnerable so that I can learn and take all of that and turn it into wisdom. And so you could, one of the easiest ways to say it in a very esoteric way, we do readings with human design. I'm now in the BG5 world, which is human design as we apply it to life, career, and business. And so I look at it more as a profiling assessment tool. It's a beautiful map that lets each of us know what our strengths are, not even so much what our weaknesses are, but where we blocked, where are we operating from shadow behaviors and distractions that are really designed to be our places of wisdom. What is our life theme? What is our life's purpose? What is our work in the world? Those are the beautiful things that we're able to reveal in the human design chart. And again, what I do in the BG5 world is I apply that to business systems, business environments. Like I think when I don't know that I said this to you earlier today, you're actually designed to work solo, Saju, and or in a large group organization, which is fascinating because I know what you do at Infinite Love. That's a big group of people, and you are a leader. You are that objective, trusted leader that's created something quite beautiful, and you bring people together, in that large group. And from there, you initiate them, you awaken them, you bring new ways of living to them, new ways of feeling to them.
So, for a layperson who's never heard about human design, how do you go about reading a chart? I know you asked for birthday and time and place of birth too, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
from that, we create a chart, right? A chart. I was doing my free webinar a couple of weeks ago, and I had just come off of a Tony Robbins, Dean Gracioso call. I was on their call a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking, Saju, about, the new world we're living in, this major time of transition, and how we really need to be different people and work differently. And they said to be successful and feel fulfilled as you move forward, and this is Tony, and I love Tony, you need a map, you need a guide, and you need tools. Well, hark, we have the map, we have the guide, and we provide tools so that, to me, it's more important to have a conversation with a client. Like, you can get your own chart, but you're not going to really be able to read it. There's loads of stuff on the internet where you can go learn for yourself, but it's like going to Walmart to get a pair of spectacles, to see up close, just the generic ones, or you could go to your eye doctor and get the specificity of your glasses so that you can see better. I'm the specificity, right? You can go on the internet, you can get your Walmart glasses, and or you can find consultants and analysts all over the world that are able to look at your design and let you know again where your strengths are. What is it? Where is it that you're designed to be broadcasting yourself from a place of authenticity and alignment? Because a lot of us, Saju, aren't. Like we had that conversation. You and I, we're what we call defined. We have a lot of consistency in our design, and we're designed to express and broadcast ourselves authentically. And it's sometimes it's just too much for people, and so they tell us to tone it down, not be so loud, because they're not prepared for our impact feel. I don't know about you, but I diminished myself for years, played small, trying not to be too loud. And again, when the individual shared my design with me for that first time, it was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be moody. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be emotional. And these were the things that I was trying not to be versus what's in my design. In terms of my purpose and my role, because that's information that the design gives to people, I'm a messenger. Here I sit as a messenger sharing new, tools and modalities with people that have the capacity to really change and transform who they are. So you can get your free chart, you can go to the internet, but I would go to the BG5 Institute or the Jovian Archive and get a copy of the chart, and all of the consultants are listed on those websites that can work with you to understand the dynamics of your design. Does that help?
That helps. Perfect. And we will put it on under the more, all the links where people can go and get their human design, or even where they can find you, you know, your email address,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps. What you were talking about, playing small, it was the same for me. I played really small for a very long time. In fact, I think when you met me, I was still very quiet and playing small, though I had started a nonprofit, but I was not vocal. I was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I was, how should I put it, in the shadows. I was behind. I didn't want to come forward, and I let everybody else, come forward. And I remember you telling me, Saju, you are like an elephant behind a leaf. You're trying to hide, and you can't. You have to come in the front. And at that time, I told you, I don't know what you're talking about. And today I have grown. It's been years since we did that, and I can see that now. And you're right. And it did give me the permission. That's what I think the
Mm-hmm.
chart gives you permission to be who you are, because this is what you're
Yeah.
supposed, this is how you're built. And you don't realize that you're built that way. You think you're too much. You think, you're not smart enough or good enough and whatnot. But when you see your design, your chart, hey, I am built to be this way. It's okay to be the way I am because this is who I am. And
Mhm.
basically, it
I
helps you.
love I love that you use the word permission. That's one of the words we use in our BG5 classes and our foundation classes. Our intention is to give you the information that gives you the permissions. To be who you are. So I love that you actually said that. I think it's important too, Saju, to share that Ra Uru Hu years ago, like way back when I was first introduced to this system, he talked about this very time of change that we're in right now, preparing us for these times of change, because human design has eras, ERAs, ages that we live through. And we have been leaving what we call the age of planning for the past couple of years. He foretold us years ago. He said the structures are going to break down. The banking systems aren't going to be there. Your cops aren't going to be there when you need them. The institutionalized structures that we have been building, our economic systems, social systems, financial systems, healthcare systems, they are going to break down because we're leaving that age. We're leaving the age of planning. No longer are we going to give our power over to these outside authorities because they're crumbling. That's not the way of the future. The way of the future is the age of the individual. And so this 2027 has been forecasted by Ra. And those of us who love the system, and we're out there screaming today, Saju, to let people know There is a system here that can ground us, that can take us through these times of transition, because it's taking us back inside to our spirit, to our inner authority, so that we can be the individual that we are, trust our own inner authority, not some outside, guru and or institution. And from that place, when you're honoring you, you said it, Tuck, and I get chills and I want to cry. You said, I'm doing this for me. Like, there's a greater good to what you're doing with infinite love, Saju. You're doing it for you. I'm doing this for me. But when we come together, we get to bond and connect and co-create in ways that we have not experienced before. And I'd say, Katie, bar the door, as we move forward, honoring ourselves and one another in this new way of being. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what we might create?
That's so true. And with every with with every person I've been speaking to who's in this healing, area, wellness area, all talk about going inward. That's what it is, like, and I, with my podcast, Quest for Peace, we're looking for peace. And how do you get peace but to go inward and really look at yourself and find out what, everything. In fact, I've been doing this. I've been going in and looking at all my emotions and what are the things that I've been stuffing down, and literally taking it all out, looking at it and letting it go, so that I can clean up my system, so that I don't have to, I can live better,
Yeah.
and I can attract better. And of course, if I am better, outside of me is going to be better. So this is the way of peace. I think peace within ourselves is to look inwards. And everything that I do. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Everything that I do.
No, you
everything that I do, I tell myself now, do it for you. What makes you happy? And if you're doing it for you and you're happy and you're glowing and you're, like, that shows, and people see that and they resonate with that and they want to be that. So that's how you change the world, one person at a time. Change yourself and then change the world.
Yeah. And, your unconscious core essence, is straight 27, which is all about you nurturing you so that you have the energy then to nurture others. And so you're speaking your chart, just
Wow.
because it's naturally who you are as you broadcast. Recently I have shared the information with a really good friend of mine, and I am watching her, because there are different types, Saju, in this body of work. We're not all cookie cutter the same. We're not designed to be homogenized. We're not designed to be sheeples. We're not. Every single one of us is differentiated, but we do fit into different categories. You and me, we're express builders. We're here to build things like you're doing with Infinite Love. We're here to express ourselves. 70% of the planet are builders. They're initiators at 8%, your sisters or advisors at 20%, and we operate differently. So as me and you, are talking about honoring and trusting ourselves, let's say your sisters are trusting themselves. My friend who's an initiator, she is just owning who she is right now. How we're designed to interact with one another is different based on the types. So as you're bringing your group together at Infinite Love, I've watched a couple of teams recently, Saju, who didn't have this information. I've watched them attempt to communicate to get something done and completely dishonor the person because they didn't know how to interact with them. They didn't know how to ask questions, or they didn't know not to ask questions. And so there is a greater value, I believe, to this entire system as we move forward, and we're grouping and we're potting and we're finding our fractals of people that we want to be with, to know who I am, to know who you are, but to be able to honor who you are without taking it personally, to get that it's the dynamics of your design, the dynamics of mine, back to the communication and listening. It really does support not only individually to have this information, but as we bring groups together, it really has great value in having the projects move forward because everybody's on the same page, honoring themselves and accepting other people for who they are.
So this is great for businesses because now you can look at who you can hire and who would work well with the group that you have, what are the different, you have the generator, the manifesting generator, what else?
In the BG5 world, we have an initiator. In
Okay.
human design, that's a manifester. They literally are designed to initiate. 8% of the population, the only ones that are supposed to initiate it. Saju, that's not how we're raised. We're all told to get up and go do it, right? So we got builders like you and me, expressive and classic builders, 70% trying to be initiators. Initiating, that's not what we're designed to do. We build, we move things along. The poor initiators are trying to be builders, and they're not builders. And then we have the advisors, 20% of the population, again, your sisters, who are here to look at what we're doing and course correct and guide and direct and see how things are most efficiently done. And then there is the evaluator, 1%, that is like a canary in a coal mine. Like if you had one in the midst of infinite love, they could say, you know what, Saju, the overall energy of the group, it's not what you're seeking. It's over here, and you might want to realign. That's what an evaluator would do in your group.
Okay.
But the other thing that BG5, the Business Institute, does with the human design work, Saju, it lets us know what our best way of working is. So some people work best as entrepreneurs solo, they just do. Some people are designed to work in partnership, some aren't. Some are designed for small groups, some people aren't. Like they're just not. And then some people are designed for large groups and some aren't. So to know what your ideal work environment is, because people like there are people who are in small groups that aren't designed to be there, that don't understand why they feel, controlled and homogenized or not recognized or seen or fulfilled. And so there is huge benefit, not only for the individual but for each of us to see, where do I fit in best, where am I designed to work best with other people.
I can see where it can be really, really helpful for
Mm,
yourself as well as for your company. Can you give me a
yep.
little bit more clarity as far as let's look at human design?
Yeah, yeah, we can in the BG5 where we called generators builders because
Right,
they're
right,
here
right.
to build. There's the pure builder, the classic builder, and there's the express builder. So there's a difference here, and the easiest way to do, like, we're here to build things. We're 70% of the planet. We're here to be vital. We're here to be creative, by goodness. We're here to live on purpose because we're putting a lot of vital and creative and sexual energy. We're generating energy. We're like energizer bunnies. And so we're designed to move energy along and bring inspiration into form. That's what we're here to do. The initiators, again, start things up. I had a guy in my class, and he contributed this. I'm the teacher, and this was how he described it, Saju, and it was beautiful. He said, initiators compose the music. The builders play the instruments. The advisor is the conductor of the orchestra, and the evaluators are the audience. I thought, what a beautiful analogy. And so we're looking at how to create, in quotes, the perfect world. Each of us have a job to do, and we want to stay in our lane. And so for your sisters, they don't operate like you and me. The two of us, Saju, we're going to work until our battery dies at night, not literally. And then we're going to conk out and we're going to feel fully satisfied that we used our energy for something that we love. We cannot do stuff, Saju, that we don't love. We're designed to respond and say yes to what we are compelled to do. And we can't do it from here. And we can't do it from expectations. Like, it's got to come from our gut. Like, yes. And so we go out and we build and we generate vitality and creativity. And then your sisters are sitting over there and they're watching, they're observing what we do. And they have this beautiful capacity when they're recognized for who they are to give us feedback, to guide and direct in the most extraordinary of ways.
Hmm.
And so, again, everybody has their own place that they
Yes.
fit in.
And you won't know that until you do your human design to know where you're at. What are you, you know?
Yeah. And then again, the profile, like one of the big things, there's so much here. There's so much information there, Saju, it really is. But if you allow yourself to layer it and hear it again and again and again and again, all of the beautiful parts begin to synthesize, and continue to, because this is the vibration that lives in every cell of my body, right? And so I'm listening and I'm affirming and I'm owning, and I get to become more of who I am. And I don't know, it's just quite the beautiful thing.
Well, I remember you giving me, I still have it, a Gene Key book, and it was this thick. And I looked at it and I go, oh my God, that's a lot. And you're right, you need a guide. You already studied this, Tuck, and you're like, it right away. You don't need to refer, because I see you looking at the charts and you go bang bang bang. You say everything so
Well, I
clearly.
think that's so different reality, because you do a lot of stuff at Infinite Love, Saju. And for me, truth just, it literally jumped up off the page when someone shared this with me. I would never say this is the only way for you to become who you are. I just feel like we draw in the right information, don't we, when it's the right time. And
Yes,
if it resonates deeply, we'll feel it. Yeah.
absolutely.
And so I'm a messenger. I'm a messenger for this great system, and those that are resonate with it and are drawn, great, and those that don't, that's okay. I
Yeah,
still know who they are.
absolutely. So this is not a
Yeah.
must, and this is the only way. There's so many different ways of getting to where you need to. This is just one of the tools, one of the ways. It's like putting on a light bulb. Like, oh, and for me, it's been extremely helpful for me, for my direction, to understand who I am, what I'm doing, and if I'm doing the right thing. Yes, this is what I am.
And the other, Saju, it doesn't matter when you call me, your chart expands with you. It's like it's evergreen, right? So when we first met, you were at a certain place and the chart met you where you were. And yet it grows with you because we have another conversation today and you're saying, okay, I'm getting ready to embrace something, even bigger. Is it in alignment with who I am and what I'm designed to do? And so again, it's your vibration, so it's going to expand and grow with you. Who wouldn't want to love that, right?
Yes. Yes, that's absolutely true. So when you say it grows with you, I know that there are timings, right? I mean, you had told me at a certain age you will do, it shows that you would probably, it's also like a prediction type of a thing. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm funny about predictions. That's just me. That's me personally. I go, this is the suit that you're designed to wear. You are a vibrational frequency, right? This is a frequency. This information is a frequency. And so as you are, I'm going to use the word up leveling, I guess, Saju,
Mhm.
we can express ourselves in a very negative, shadowy kind of way. We can be on point. And each one of the types, like for you and me, we got to be satisfied. If we're not, we're frustrated. Note to self, we're off kilter. For the advisors, like your sisters, for them it's bitterness versus feeling successful, recognized, like in a flow. For the initiators, it's a sense of peace and freedom to go initiate the way they want to, right? And the evaluators, it's like surprise. And so as we're expanding, as we're up leveling our vibration, the chart's still the same. We're just a higher vibration of that chart.
So you're
So
talking
that's
about,
kind of what I mean.
okay, so you're talking about the shadow side and what they call the pearl? Is that what it's called? The
You
pearl?
know, in Richard's work, he calls it the shadow, the gift, and the city, SIDDHI, or the highest expression, the highest essence
Okay.
of how something expresses itself.
So these are the three possibilities of the expression of that individual. There's a shadow and then the gift and the city. So you can be expressing
Yeah,
in that essence.
27, if I took your traits in 27, because we've been talking a lot about you, and this is Richard's work, Gene Keys. The 27 goes from selfishness to selflessness to altruism. So if you're in your shadow, you are selfish, I say you're overworking yourself for others, or either you're ignoring others for yourself. But it's about being selfless, it's about nurturing you first. And from there, you get to be altruistic. And so each one of the traits in his work has a way that you can know you're down the rabbit hole versus, being fully present to another person.
Wow, there's so much to look at. Each number, each gene key.
Yeah, you have another one, 23, and Ann Seeley and I laugh at this one all the time. It says for you, Saju, if anything feels complicated versus simple, kick it to the curb.
I usually do that. I don't want complicated. I want it easy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. So, I mean, in this day and age where we are going through so much turmoil and change that's going on, and you, as you said, we are leaving the era of what was it that you said?
Planning,
Planning. So, what exactly is the era of planning as opposed to where we're going?
individuality. It was the age of building institutions, again, communities. And the biggest one for me to use is healthcare, our educational systems, our banking finance systems, political systems, and we give our power over to them. I just get very passionate about this. Everything was, on bargains and agreements. Everything was about hierarchy. Everything was about competition and let's get this done. And I want to climb the ladder. That is not the way of the future. The way of the future is cooperative, right? It's you do you, I do me. You honor your sovereignty. What makes your spirit abundant? What are your gifts? What are your talents? Live those. I get to do the same. So it's the age of individuality. It's not the age of community and, family and institutions. It's not like we have to do anything about it, Saju, because they're breaking down themselves. And Ross said it's going to be a shock to our systems, as we're moving through this period of change to 2027. But if you know who you are, if you give yourself permission to be who you are, and we are honoring our own inner authority, that's how we're going to survive and be able to cope. If we're dependent on the institutions that are breaking down, if we're still competing, if we're still in hierarchy, we're not going to make it.
Wow. And so 2027 is the beginning or is where we are. So right now we're in the change. And then 2027 is when everything else, everything starts as far as
Yeah,
individual.
there's so much there. He actually says a new human being will be born called the rave. You and me, we're part of the transformational process. We're here to, you know, let go of what doesn't work, embrace what we need to move forward, that kind of thing. We're in the transition period, you and me. But in 2027, there'll be a new kind of human on the planet, and they're going to bond differently and they're going to have a different awareness than we do.
That sounds so amazing. That's so peaceful.
Mhm.
Sounds peaceful,
Mhm.
right?
I do. I believe we're right on sacred time, don't you? Like, I
Yes.
met you so synchronistically, when Simi and I were on the Rebel Road, and what you all, not only what you were doing back then, but the foundation of how come you started what you did, it was so pure. And you are that objective, trusted leader who has no idea of what her potential talent is. You're allowing yourself to continue to transform and rebirth. I mean, you've got rebirthing in your design, reawakening and rebirthing in your design, to have infinite love, transform with our changing times, but to keep that purity of heart that it started with. At least that's what I see.
Well, that's beautiful. But for people who are going, to go, or we are all going to go through this, and you said to be true to yourself, can you give any more advice as to how we can weather the storm that we're coming into?
Again, I have a really good friend, and she's going through a transition right now. I mean, who isn't going through a transition, right?
Everyone.
Everybody's working differently. They're not, remote, hybrid ways of working. Everything's changing. And I know for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but I do pick it up from the people that I work with. As you said, as I'm giving myself permission to fully be who I am and to only do what makes my heart sing, to only do what I'm compelled to do, we are literally drawn. Like when we walk out the doors based on our design, I'm drawn to you, and or I will be drawn if I'm giving myself permission to be me. I will be drawn into the right partnerships, the right small groups, the right environments that are going to allow me not only to make my contribution, but to do that in a co-creative environment. Like again, that I don't think we even know what we're in for or in store for, that's going to, I have a friend that doesn't like the word gobsmack, but I do. I think it'll just gobsmack us, that we get to be and do things in a really different way. And so it's the simplicity of it. It's just getting an understanding of your career type, you know, what is your personal interaction style? What is your energy doing? You and me, we're very open and enveloping. We are open, warm. Advisors are more focused. They kind of look into us and they focus. And so to you and me, it feels interfering sometimes if we haven't asked for it, right? Initiators are in their own freedom doing what they do, so it's kind of hard to get in because they're impacting us, right? They're not open and warm and enveloping like you and me. And so again, to have the information keeps everything not taken personally. We just get it's the mechanics and the dynamics of our energy and who we are. So it opens up, I think, a world of acceptance as well, which we don't have much of right now. Saju, nobody's listening out there, right?
That's true.
And so
That's
I
true.
think, I do believe, I can be responsible for my 3 to 5 feet of energy in myself. And one of the best ways to do that is to get clarity around my design. Who am I? What am I here to do? And am I doing that in alignment with my design? I like simplicity. See, that's just simple to me. I know this is a lot of information, but there really is a simplicity to it all. The buzzword today is what? You do you?
Yep.
Well, if they don't know what you is, they can't do you.
Exactly. So how can you help? You do one-on-one sessions, correct?
Hmm. Again, I also teach for the BG5 Institute, which it is the source. This is the source. Jovian and BG5 are Ra Uruhu's foundational companies. And so I went to the source because I wanted to be a part of that when I went to learn about applying human design to career and business a couple of years ago. And so we teach foundation classes. Yes, I do one on one sessions, overviews, full design analyses. All of us as consultants do. But I have encouraged a lot of my friends, you know me, you know I talk about this a lot. Everybody wants to know about themselves. And I have finally said, come to class. We have a foundation. And because it's about you having your chart, your sons, your husbands, your families, your friends, and getting the foundation of what this system is and the power that it has to change your life. So I encourage people to, I've got a free webinar on their website. You know, people, there's a lot on the BG5 Institute website where people can listen to the free webinars and get an overview for the instructors. Do they like them? Do they not like them? What is the information going to do for me in terms of value? So I encourage people to go there because I'm there. That's what I'm doing. And I also connect with people individually. So
Great.
both.
Great. So they can go to the website, which we will link under the information page, and
Mhm.
and then from there they can even get in touch with you individually if they
Yes.
want. Okay, great, great. So that will be a help.
How to get in touch with me. People go, Tug, you really give people your phone number? And I go, yeah, of course. But people are welcome to either reach out by email and or telephone.
Okay, so we'll put all that information there for you. I do have a question for you because this podcast is about, cultivating peace, quest for peace.
Mhm.
So, what does a
Mhm.
peaceful world look like to you?
The first word, the first word that comes up for me is acceptance, acceptance of self and acceptance of others. If I were talking to my friend Shavasti, which I'm excited for you to have him on your podcast,
Yes.
because I do work with him one on one, he uses the word love. It all comes back to love. Uh, Based on my immersion in this great system and the life that I have lived as a Southern woman who was told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, where to do it, to me, it's acceptance, as you say, permission to be myself, other people doing the same. And then the peace is going to come through our listening to one another, honoring myself, honoring you for who you are, getting that we can agree to disagree. Like we got to be listening, Saju. We got to listen to one another and be in acceptance of self and others. So that's off the cuff. That's what I would say.
That's amazing. And about the listening at the Infinite Love Center, one time we did a workshop on
Mhm.
listening, and we had
Yeah.
everybody just make partners and just sit there and listen to the other person without having to say a word. No nods, no, just listen. It was very hard for people at first, but it was such a beautiful exercise. We had to go around and say, don't say anything. Just, but they really enjoyed it, and the ones that were being listened to felt so amazing that, oh my god, somebody actually heard me, because people don't do that. And I want to remind everybody who's watching, please listen. Don't put in your advice, don't put in your, oh yeah, that happened to me too. No, just listen to the other person. All they want is for you to listen. They're not asking for your advice, they just want to be heard. And it would
Mhm.
be a beautiful world if we could just hear each other, you know, or
Wouldn't it?
see each other. Like, I see you, I
Mhm.
understand, I hear you. Starting in 27, it's going to be that way.
if we if we have anything to do with it,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
Uh-huh.
is there anything else you would like to add?
Just want to say to you, like I really do. I feel so in my heart just this gratitude for you, and I always have for what you and are doing with Infinite Love, like the foundation of what you have built. And I don't know, I'm a connector, and to connect with you on a deep level, Saju, to be able to share your design with you and to keep allowing it to cultivate and expand over the years. Just thank you for being in alignment with who you are. And thank you for letting me run my mouth, because everybody knows I love to talk and I love to express myself and I love this system. And so it makes me happy to be able to share the message. So
Oh, thank
thank you.
you. Thank you. And again, thank you for doing the work that you're doing that helps so many people. I mean, I can only talk about myself because it has helped me a lot along the way, the years, and really helped me come to be who I am today. So I thank you for the work that you do. I'm really appreciative. And I hope more and more people after listening to this will, go out there and learn more about this. And I
Yeah,
appreciate
let's
you.
go.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming today. And well, let's see. We maybe down the road we'll do this again.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And I'm all
Okay.
about fun.
Yes, you are. Thank you. Quest for Peace, a podcast about navigating outer chaos with inner harmony. Whether you're seeking solace in the midst of life's challenges or simply curious about the profound connection between inner and outer peace, the Quest for Peace podcast is your guide on this transformative expedition.